In a society where sexual experiences and behaviors are often private, understanding their long-term impacts becomes essential. It is pertinent to acknowledge that early sexual experiences have a profound effect on young women's future choices, including the decision to embrace celibacy in adulthood. In this month's edition of The Tides, we delve into the topic early sexual experiences in young women, its impact on adulthood celibacy. To provide professional insight on this topic is a seasoned educator, a life coach, and academic coach for teenage girls. Save this video for your teenage girls and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, turn on the notification button in order to get updates. What we do on this program, The Tide, is to encourage you to rise above whatever challenges you are going through, whether you're a young girl, you're an adult, you're married, irrespective of the category you are. We've got a lot of personnel that we can bring on this program to give us insights that are invaluable to the situation we are currently facing. I remain your host. My name is Omoshola, welcoming you to the March 2025 edition of The Tide. So stay glued to this channel and let's go meet my guests. Meet Frances. She is a seasoned educator, life coach, and academic coach for teenage girls.
Yeah.
So she has the experience, she has everything it takes to actually talk about the topic we are going to dissect soon. So if you're just joining on, feel free to subscribe, like, and share, particularly if you have teenage girls. They will definitely benefit from this. As I've said earlier on during the introduction, that today we are looking at early sexual experiences in young women, its impact on adulthood celibacy. Francis, we all know that, if a young woman experience have early sexual experience, if it is not immediately curbed, there is a way that it has a profound effect on the on that child.
Yeah, exactly.
The adolescent has an early sexual experiences at age, let's say 13, 14, 15, 16. If the person is not fortunate enough to meet someone to quickly redirect our steps, the person might eventually become what we term wayward, or become completely withdrawn from any form of relationship. So I'm going to start by asking the first question based on your wealth of knowledge. How do early sexual encounters shape young girls' perspective on celibacy in later life? What's your view about that? How do you think early sexual encounters can shape young girls' perspective on celibacy in later life? And those of us, of course, we know the meaning of celibacy when you maintain abstinence.
Yeah, consciously maintaining abstinence.
Yeah, from sexual relationships. So over to you, Frances.
So I'm going to say it all depends on several factors. So there is the cultural aspect of it, okay? And there is the educational aspect of it, and there is personal values and the part of emotional support involved. So when we come to cultural aspects, it can be several things. It's either you see a young girl going out to explore and being very secretive about it because of the culture of shame on that is attached to sexual experiences in so many minority communities. So it makes them kind of keep that experience to themselves. They're not quite open about it. They're not quite forward about what they are going through or what they intend to go through. There is the educational aspect of it. So it's this is the part where it's either when the child has open-minded parents who are well educated, or when the child is experiencing a level of high education and is in a circle of well-educated people who would be able to discuss about this in a very balanced way. We
Yeah.
also have the personal values, people who grew up in, let's say, very religious sects or religious congregations, or just personally who don't want to go through this thing. So it has different perspectives, okay? But the main thing is, as adults who as parents, as adults who are guardians of these children, of these young women,
Mm.
who are custodians of these young women, to be able to normalize having open conversations, most especially about the idea of self-worth, not attaching your self-worth to your to sex, because some of
Yeah.
them, if you talk to some of them, you realize that some of them want to belong to people, they want to be among, they want to have to meet up with their peers and
Yeah.
say
Meet
that,
where God ran.
yeah,
Yeah.
and say that I have done this, and be a conversation starter in this aspect, not tying yourself, or not thinking that in my friend group I have to show my worth to have experienced sex to be able to contribute to conversations within my friend group. And there is
Mm.
also a conversation that should be around consent. It's very jarring to actually find out that a lot of young women do not know that their first sexual encounter was unconsensual. Like, some of them just say this, and you're like, no, you didn't give consent.
Exactly.
If you said no, that was not a positive sexual encounter. That shouldn't have happened. Okay. And these are things we need to talk about, and also normalize having these open conversations about these things. Not necessarily tying shame to it, not attaching shame to it, but actually allowing young women to be able to have these conversations, to be able to direct them appropriately, to be able to discover that they are what's more than, it's just like I tell them that it's just sex, it's just going to happen, and it's just going to go off, and you're just going to, like, it's not something, it's something that it's so precious that in that millisecond or minutes, it may make or mar your life. Like,
Mm.
it's going to, if you had a very
Exactly.
intense and terrible
A
encounter,
profound effect in the later life.
yeah. So it's just something that I try to say, like, if you want to do this, you should think deeply about it. Okay, so it's also, yeah, so it's just about this. Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so when you were talking, you made mention of they should know that their first sexual encounter is non-consensual. Like, are you saying that even if um they voluntarily engage in it, they don't have the understanding, the maturity enough to know that they actually wanted this or not?
So I'm going to talk about the age of consent, especially in the UK and so many other places. So the age of consent in the UK is 16, yeah,
And
and the age of consent is different. When there is like an age of consent, I think most of the young women here are quite aware that if I did this under 16, I didn't give consent. It's when you talk to younger women and they're saying, oh, my boyfriend or this man, and I'm 13, and I'm saying, no, that is rape. Okay. And it's kind of a very, very dicey situation, considering that in some cultures, it is quite okay to have this woman getting married at age 13. Sometimes very dicey thing to navigate. And that is why I said it
yeah,
also depends on the awareness and the educational awareness, or the
the
societal,
cultural background and all of
yeah,
that.
of the parents too. Because if it was an educated parent, they would in fact go ahead and like chase on and take up a case against this person. Okay.
Yeah,
But some other parents who are very how will I say, cultural, or who believe that, oh, she's a woman this age, I got married at this age, so it's very hard to navigate in this
yeah.
scenario.
Okay. So that depends on a lot of factors, like you've mentioned. So,
Yeah.
do you think the early sexual experiences on adolescent girls have a psychological impact on them?
Of course, it does have a psychological impact, especially when you look at, let's talk about the negative parts. Okay.
Okay.
It's as even as a matured woman, okay, it's a big move to become a parent, okay? And it is even a bigger move when a child becomes a parent. So it's
Mm,
also thinking about what could come out from this exploration of your teenage body, of your womanhood, okay? Realizing that you could actually get pregnant on your first experience. That is a very massive thing.
mm,
It could as a woman, it could change your life trajectory, to change your destiny. You have to mature very fast, and not see yourself as a child anymore, but try to see yourself as a parent of this child that you're going to bring into this world, okay?
mm.
It could also lead to a lot of delusion and excess emotional attachment that could lead these young girls to straying away from their academic pursuits, from their
Yeah.
self-realization, okay?
Mm,
Because a lot of times there is a lot of things attached to a woman's first experience, okay? So when and it's also very bad if the lady goes on to have a very negative experience. It can lead to things like regrets, like intense regrets. Yeah.
mm,
And it can lead to confusion, especially not knowing how you are feeling. Like you have this warmth, this of emotions and feelings, and
mm.
you don't really know how to navigate it. So,
Exactly.
and
Um,
sometimes it can lead
mhm.
to low self-esteem or shame, you know, when because um when you pull off your clothes and you have another gender scrutinize your body, especially when you these young women sometimes do these things with their own inexperienced counterparts, who, like, you see these young boys trying to join the alpha male gang or whatever it is,
Mhm.
and they tell tales about a woman's body, and that is her first experience. And it can bring shame, like, oh, she look at how she looks, she's built like this, I know, things like this. And it
Exactly.
it also leads to they start having like a lack of trust. You find it hard to start trusting people, and that is where you start building up the things that these men begin to call baggages, because that is how it starts. You see someone, a 13-year-old girl, from bad experience, they're already having um traumatic feelings about their first encounter, and they find it hard to trust people. They struggle with intimacy because when you've pulled your clothes and this young man has told you, oh, look at how you look this, you look that, and picked your body apart. So
Yeah.
it's also very, very, it has a lot of psychological impact. So
Impact,
yeah.
exactly. But at the same time, everything we'll be talking about is majorly between a girl that's consented to it. We have another category whereby the girl was raped.
Oh
That
yeah,
one, I believe, is going to have a negative impact.
that is the worst part. That is
Mm-hmm.
I've seen young women who have gone through rape who have disassociated from, like, it's like turning into, how do I put it? Like becoming cold with the world,
Yeah,
uh, have nothing good to talk about the world. Yeah,
yeah.
because it's
They
like
are just in their own world. They are not
yeah,
interested in anything happening there.
and you feel disappointed with society because you can't believe how this has happened. How did this happen? And some of them will tell you, I've done everything. I wasn't wearing skimpy clothes. I was literally covered in a hijab. I was in the right place at the right time. I was in school, and it did. And most of the time it happens in these places we think are safe spaces, in the
Mm.
family house, in the
Yeah.
school, in
Mm-hmm.
a hospital. So it's very traumatic, and it's
Exactly.
hard. It's That is why I said it also depends on the exposure of the guardian and the parents, because when
Mhm.
you have when you are able to have these conversations, and then you know that you should find these children help, they should actually go to therapy, because this is not an easy experience. You understand?
Exactly, especially when you know as a child, as a girl child, that you've done everything right. You know.
Exactly. So
Okay, so judging by everything we've said so far, do you think it will affect their ability to establish healthy relationships in adulthood? Because, you have made mention of the long-term effects, all of that psychological, all of that effect, both negative and I'm not sure there is any positive impact to early sexual experiences anyways. But over the years, maybe as it begins to transform into adulthood, do you think it will affect their ability to establish healthy? When we talk about healthy, what healthy relationship is. So,
yeah.
do you think it can affect, or in a way, the ability to establish healthy relationships in adulthood?
I feel like, but some people say like, oh, but um what if they had a good experience? I think if you're a woman, a young lady whose frontal lobe is not well developed, would struggle.
Mm.
I think they still have to go through the process of maturing to actually be able to gather their emotions, even if it was, I don't believe there's nothing like consensual sex under 16 for me. But even if they tell you themselves that, oh, I wanted this, but you still can see it through their eyes that they have obsessive attachment to sex. Like
Mhm.
most you see, most young people do not believe in a marriage with a relationship without intimacy. So
Yeah.
it's an obsession about having sexual experiences with whoever, and it's also an obsession about that partner too. Like you see them have developing this obsessive illusions about the partner, and giving them so much power over them, including like, because this was my first experience, he's going to dictate my life, he says this, I do this, he's going to tell me what to do, and they obsess about them so much. Okay, it's also this is for people who claim that they do have a good, that it was a positive experience for them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for those who have negative experiences, you can also see that there is a difficulty trusting new partners when they finally grown.
Mhm.
There are women that they still tell you that they shiver when they get so close to having that intimacy, even if they are now grown and they have decided to explore this part. But because of past experiences, they still find it very, they do not trust their partners, even though there are still no red signs or anything, red flag.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
some of them also have expectations of relationship and what a woman's body should look like because of
Mm-hmm.
what they've been told about theirs. Some of them be like, oh, but I don't look fine, I look like this, I look like this. And sometimes I tell them that we can't all look the same. Like even if we all eat the same food and work out every day, no woman is in this life is built to be the same. Okay,
Mm.
so it's also about all this unrealistic expectations about the female body, a woman's body. And
Mm.
sometimes you see them, these experiences, whether bad or good, also lead to a sense of self-realization and self-empowerment. Some of the young women I've worked with, when they go through this, either positively for them or negatively, you see that some of them will say, yeah, I've done this, I think there is nothing to it, I feel like now I've demystified it. It's not as special as it's been hyped on media to be like. So now I just think like, you know what? I'm just going to focus on myself. I'm just going to grow. Okay.
Yeah.
Some of them is the self-realization that, you know what? I am not going to let someone have this much power over me again. I'm going to work for my own money so that I'm not finding myself in these vulnerable positions that I did find myself in before
Mm.
that led me to this. Okay.
Yeah.
It's also realizing that, oh, that was not a good experience. I don't like it. I wasn't wild as I feel like I should have been. So what should I do? Maybe I should become a therapist or something to help young women like me who have felt
Mm.
this way. So
Yeah.
it can lead to several things. That is where with help and with communal efforts that most
Okay.
of them reach this realization.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
it needs, so they need supportive environments. Yeah, they
They
need
need what?
supportive environments.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, they need opportunities to self-reflect about their experience.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and they also do need at least an access to education. Yeah, to
Mm.
open up their minds. And because some if you go to like underdeveloped countries, some of them do get into this because there is this lack of access to education, which is going to empower,
Yeah. Proper enlightenment.
yeah, and enlighten them. So yes.
Okay. So I believe you are actually, the next question I wanted to ask was if is the can early sexual experiences jeopardize young women's academic performance and future aspiration? But from what you have been saying so far, I can just summarize it in a way that whether they like it or not, in one way or the other, it's going to affect their academic pursuit, because it's either they are obsessively attached to having
Yeah.
the intimacy, or by the time they are growing into adulthood, whereby they can now say, okay, I'm ready for relationship. It's either they have the trust issues, even though there is no red flags. So, well, let me just still ask you if you think the early sexual experiences can jeopardize their young women's academic performance and future aspirations. Like you mentioned, that some of them can decide to turn to a therapist, helping young women not to
Yeah.
follow the path they have earlier told. So you can help us to shed more light on that.
I feel like even though that there is no universal rule, yeah,
Hmm.
to this, but it does really impact on academic performance because a young child, a young woman doesn't have the emotional maturity to be able to handle the feelings that come with this. So
Hmm.
if they get obsessed or obsessive about either the experience itself or about their partners, it can lead to a drop in the academic performance because now they are struggling with focus. Okay.
Yeah.
And it can also, if they do have a bad experience, yeah, they go in, some of them go into emotional distress, especially when they say, oh, like they find out that this partner who has had their first experience with them is being with someone else, throws them
Hmm.
into emotional distress, and they become, that is one, they go on to start questioning their self-worth. And some of them, once they question their self-worth, they don't see themselves capable of even scaling through academic pursuits anymore.
Hmm.
And it's when it leads to social stigma, especially in a very in a cultural place, that is the worst because uh, she's going to be judged, she's going to be
Hmm.
deprived of uh being in a place where accessing things which her peers should have access to.
Yeah.
And it could also lead to things like unintended responsibilities, like when you have a child, some of them going to do play wifely duties to these young partners of them, like taking food, cooking. And at this age, this is not what they should be doing. They should
Mhm.
actually be focusing on their own personal growth. So yes, it does
Yeah.
have a very
Okay.
huge impact.
All right. Well, I believe the impact, the huge impact also is dependent on the clan. Like it's either if it falls in a developed country or underdeveloped country.
Yeah.
Yeah. For example, you made mention of someone who had a baby. Like in a developing country,
Yeah,
somebody helping you with your baby is the least of your worry. But
exactly.
it's just probably the shame attached to it. And if you're, during the process of the pregnancy, you might not be able to scale through your
Yeah,
academic, particularly probably in a country like Nigeria, that you have to write your WAHEC, your GCE
yeah,
and all of that. You might not be able to meet up.
yeah,
But here, especially in the UK, if you don't have support, you have to pay heavily for childcare,
Childcare, exactly.
and all of that. So definitely it's going to jeopardize in one way or the other. At a
Yeah,
point in time, you are going to put a pause on your academic pursuits in order for you to be emotionally, the emotional, you mentioned emotional, they may not be emotionally mature, emotional distress and all of that. At least get
yeah.
yourself emotionally, physically, and all of that. So having said all of this, what are the measures that can be put in place? The deed has been done, fine. We've had our early sexual experiences before we even realized what we wanted for ourselves, or probably we've even had a baby out of wedlock, before we know the kind of man that can suit our personality. So
Yeah.
having said all of this, what do you think how can we salvage the situation in order to get back on our ambition, on our academic pursuit as a young girl?
I think this is where supportive environment comes to play, because
Mm,
if you don't have support, regardless of how ambitious you are that you want to get back to your feet, you're going to struggle with it a lot. So
mm,
especially if you are from a very cultural place where it's a shame and things like that. I think some parents, things I've seen is parents hiding away these daughters who have had this child out of wedlock, and hiding them away is also depriving them of the education and things like that. Okay, so it's also very this thing very bad. So I think number one is supportive environment. Okay, and also being inspirational to them, giving them that opportunity to always try again, giving them the benefit of doubt, like, also, because someone has made a mistake on this does not mean they are going to keep making mistakes severally in their lifetimes. So long as they have good guidance, okay,
mm,
they have good support systems, a lot of them still make it. A lot of them still come out doing so good. Okay,
yeah.
so it's support, a lot of support, being very inspirational, okay, motivating them, and also creating these opportunities, because you can see there is a massive difference in a developing country and a developed country when these things happen. Okay, so
Mhm,
if it's a developed country, you're still going to see young women like this still having access to whatever they should have access to. It could be child benefits to be able to cater for their children, which is very supportive, which is also part of the supportive environment. They could also have access to going like free education and stuff like that. So a supportive environment and creating inspirational for them, and also mentoring is
mm,
also very, very huge. That is why a
yeah.
lot of people, I said, if you see your child struggling with something, I think it's very good to find a mentor for them, someone that could speak to them, that could break into them. So yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you. Before we go into the next question, the next question is, you are an educationist. You've had both your experience in developing and in a developed country. So I'm going to ask how you think education can shape a young women's understanding of concepts and boundaries. But before then, let me just quickly say this to our audience. If you are just tuning in, welcome to the Ties, where we talk about challenging issues that people go through, diverse topic all around across. It's called across all sectors, and the Tide is a channel that encourage you to rise above whatever challenges you are facing, irrespective of the stage you are. Peradventure, you are a young child, or you've got an adolescent struggling with addiction, maybe sexual addiction, that has had this experience, early sexual experiences, and you are at the point whereby you are giving up on your dream or your ambition. I just want to inspire you that it is not the end of your life. Whenever you think you are at the moment, you have a baby, you've got a baby, you are struggling with everything. I want you to take your time to watch this insightful video, and pick up yourself, rise above the tides, rise above this challenge, because definitely you are going to become triumphant and victorious. And you will definitely come back, maybe some years back, and thank us later, including my esteemed guest, Francis. Thank you. for staying tuned to the program. And we'll move into the last laps now. We won't take much of your time. Please stay glued to this channel. Thank you. Okay, coming back to you, Francis. Um, like I said, as an educationist, I know you've got the experience. How do you think education in particular, education, like what we are doing now is a form of education, because it's very difficult for people to go to the 4 walls of classroom and talk about this. But in a world whereby social media is highly consumed, and this is just a media, a platform whereby we reach out to them, we are also educating them in one way or the other. How do you think it can shape their understanding of consent and boundaries, particularly those of us that are coming from developing countries? We seem not to understand what consent and boundaries mean, and we struggle to enforce our boundary. We struggle to say no to a particular thing just because we hold the person in high esteem, And I think basically it is because of the way we are brought up. Like,
Yeah,
you dare not look your parents in the eye. Whatever they say is whatever is final.
should be done. Yeah, exactly.
So,
Um, okay, I'm going to say that education is one of the key ways by which we could empower people all around, not only women, but even the young boys. Okay,
yeah,
so coming from where we came from, yeah, it's very hard. Like, it's not something most parents sit you down to talk about. Okay, and I find out even in schools, the way it's taught, like it's taught in a very formal way, that you don't have these intricate discussions. So
okay,
I feel like number something that is beyond biology, things like understanding relationship dynamics as a young child, that you shouldn't there is nothing like consent, because you are just 13, you're just 14. Okay, and also digital safety, because a lot of young people are online now. Okay, and there's a lot of groomers online, a lot of people that are grooming and preying on these young women, how to stay safe online. And also emotional intelligence. Okay, like focusing on the important things and ignoring the background noise of so much sexually consumed content that we see on social media, helping them to really understand clear message in some of these hypersexual messages, hypersexual adverts we see on TV. And
content.
yeah, and helping them to dissect the idea of beauty standard. Okay, because one thing, I've lived in several countries, and I say that if it's very important to teach young women, even the beauty standards are different in every place. Okay, so
Mhm.
if you mold yourself to become a beauty standard of this environment you find yourself in, what if you find yourself in another environment? Are you going to begin to remold yourself to that? I mean, it's very crazy. Yeah, because I have
It's
lived.
relative anyways. The standard is relative.
Yeah, so because I've lived in Nigeria, where the chubby and curvy woman is seen as the standard, and I've lived in China where it's skinny and things like that. So it's just an ideology. You can't keep trying to become something like that is projected. You have to be you, like authentically and uniquely you. Okay, and then
Okay.
also conversations about consent. Does consent mean, especially to both young women and young men? When a no is a no. Okay, when a silence does not mean a yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
when and one no is enough. Okay, when I'm not interested is a big no. When I'm not talking to you is also a no. Okay, so things like this, so that we it's like we can help to reduce the traumatic experiences of people, of young women all over the world. It's very, very important. And also helping them to build their confidence, and also supporting them and breaking down the barriers that exist in having these conversations. Because if we keep having it, like we are keep being so uppity about it and having it like it's more like, I feel like sexual conversations in who should be actually having this conversation. It's more like breaking a very big wall. And then when
Yeah.
we don't do this, we leave them to go online and see the wrong people discussing this and then consuming it and thinking that, okay, this is what it should be, this is what should be normal. So this is how education should be used to refine. Okay,
Yeah.
comprehensive sex education, conversations about consent and boundaries, awareness of sexual influences that is projected in social media, and how that is quite unrealistic to as a unique human being.
Yeah, thank you. In fact, that was really, really. I love the way you were able to break it down because this is just a wake up call for everyone, not just the mothers, everyone that has teenage girls around them. When you realize your teenage child is moody,
Yeah,
or anybody around you is smoothie, try as much as possible to be practical. Like, unlike what we have in the formal setting, like you are just teaching it on the surface. Try and be practical as much as possible because you are not just you are saving a life. It is not
yeah,
you are rebuilding a life. This is a wake-up call to everybody, to everybody both in our community, in the church, in the school, teachers, sisters, friends around. If you have a teenage child that you think they are wondering about, they keep to themselves, or you are just the one that would give them a kind of stereotype, like the way you just say that this one is beyond repair. No,
yeah,
we should change our ideology because there is nobody that they need our help. Whatever,
yeah.
if you meet somebody, whatever you can do to help them, please do. This is a wake up call to every adult that has teenagers around them, not only a girl child, but also the adolescent boys as well. We are reshaping the community. We want a sexually sane community. And I believe we can only try our input, and the world will definitely have another outlook, understanding consent and boundaries, particularly in the developing countries. Yeah, thank you so much, Francis.
Okay.
I think yeah, I want to ask you some effective strategies for promoting celibacy. But do you think, I think you have mentioned that, but I'll just leave you to maybe give us a point or two, some effective strategies for promoting celibacy and healthy sexual behaviors, especially if you are struggling with addiction. Yeah, earlier on, you mentioned of being obsessed with the
Yeah,
intimacy.
yeah.
If you are struggling like that, yeah, and you are struggling with maintaining abstinence, what are some effective strategies to promote celibacy and healthy sexual behaviors among adolescent girls?
Okay, I think one key thing is that one thing we should stop as a community, especially in like our community, is that uh, most of the times, um, most of the times we get it wrong by starting from the onset to
Okay.
enforce celibacy as a moral obligation. Okay, I
Mm-hmm.
think
That's the
when we stop this, or as a
mm,
religious obligation, when we
yeah.
stop this, it is going to become a lot better because yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's not a moral obligation. It's something that,
Enforcing celibacy as a moral standard.
yeah, as a
Oh
moral
my God.
standard, because
In fact,
it's
that is not the word for the realistic situation.
exactly, it's not, because most of the time, like you, even you as a person that is trying to uphold this as a moral standard, in the eyes of these teenagers that you're trying to be morally upright with, you're also failing on several other moral standards. And why are you
Exactly.
showcasing this
Supporting
one
just one.
in front of them? So that is what we should stop. I think instead we should present it as a personal choice, okay, that is rooted in either self-awareness, self-consciousness, okay, well-being, okay, like uh, overall well-being of you as a woman, and something to use and discipline yourself, and also channel yourself towards working to your future aspirations. Okay, for example, there are so many things you can do, like encouraging self-worth beyond relationships. Okay, that you don't need to have a relationship to be counted as a valuable person in the society. I think it's also because of the madness and the obsession linked with the traditional belief of you should get married, that also makes women, like young girls, want to do this. Like, okay,
Try different
I should have.
relationships to achieve marriage.
Exactly. Oh, getting up to this age. I should start building up my. You see young girls that are 14, 15 saying, I should be doing this so that by 20, I want to have my children early. Like, why is that supposed to be the first priority in your, like, you don't even earn money? Why are you thinking about you should have a child before you turn 20, like, or by the time you turn 20, you know? So encouraging self-worth beyond relationships, letting them build life skills, survival skills, money-making skills, okay?
Yeah.
Skills that would help them, like, even develop a hobby, realize yourself. Self-realization is not only about sexual intimacy. No, it's about, oh, what hobbies do I really like? Have you realized that you may take up a hobby? Do you actually know what your favorite subject is? Yeah. What skills do you think you should be developing to have a stable career in the future? Okay, so it's also because the world is obsessed, has made women to be obsessed with a time frame for marriage and childbearing. That's why we're also seeing this, okay? And also teaching decision-making skills, okay? Because if these young women can make viable decisions, okay, and they know what sort of decision they should be making at what certain age, they would definitely not be putting this sexual intimacy as the forefront. Okay, it's like, wow, like, you see people, he's talking to me, probably he's good. You see them like 13 for, oh, Prince Charming, Disney movies, young girls waiting to find their Prince Charming and getting married. I feel like that is crazy. Why should that's how it starts.
Not realistic. Yeah, they are enforcing a kind of imaginary thing that is something that is it's not real. It's not just realistic, and they carry this in their head, looking for their Prince Charming,
Looking for
exactly
Prince
as
Charming at
shown.
10 years old. That is not what a child should be doing. At that age, a child, like, you see younger, this person in my class, I like. I mean, it's okay to like someone in your class, but thinking about, I'm Cinderella and this, I'm going to have my Prince. No, please. So, and also providing relatable role models. Okay, like, oh, what do you think about this doctor? Yeah, what do you think about this nurse? What do you think about this teacher? Making them watch these things, like,
Okay.
seeing them, because I believe that the content young women consume, we let children consume, also tend to like mold them. Like, I've seen a child that watches, there's this doctor they watch, and their parents have built them this clay parts of the body to practice medicine and practice surgery. That is very nice. That is absolutely sweet and lovely. That is what they should be doing. That is how we should be helping them. Okay, so that is what I think. Strategies.
Yeah. Another thing I actually think is gonna work is, whether you like it or not, your girl child we pick a content to consume. So
Yeah.
in a situation where we feel that the parent we leave them as in blank. We are not
Yeah.
putting anything, we are not strategizing, we are not
Yeah.
telling them what to do.
Yeah, it's directing them towards the right path. Yeah.
The right
Things
exactly.
don't just happen out of the blues. Yeah. Just like I say to people, that you becoming religious is because of the of probably the surroundings you've grown around and everything, and then you've been channeled to pick this religion. That is how you can channel your young ones to like something and do something that they really like. Okay, instead of
Yeah.
it's like giving a blank board to the world and allowing the world paint recklessly on it. Okay. It's going to be hard when you have painted a picture and given to your child to brandish this picture. Okay. So it's
Yeah.
you when you help them that way, when they take this picture out, it's either they keep showing off this picture and making people buy into the picture that they painted, that you have painted for them, or they have painted together with you. And
Yeah.
most of the time, they have the agency to fight off anyone that wants to paint another bad picture on top of this picture that they are holding themselves. Okay. Or they can also like maybe decide to add other beautiful parts of painting into it when they start getting older. So it's very bad to hand the world a blank board of your child and let them paint over it.
Parenting is hard work.
Yeah,
It
it
is.
is hard work.
Parenting is hard work. Yeah. The next question is, what support systems are vital? But I think we have actually
Covered. Yeah.
covered that in the previous this previous question, because you have mentioned not enforcing celibacy as a moral standard, and I want to believe that, you know, we should have this open mind. We should be open-minded and teach them to be open-minded as well to things, but at the same time teach them the advantage and the disadvantages
Yeah.
of a particular thing. Okay, this is celibacy. This other one is going to turn out to be like this. So, but encourage them, not by enforcing it, because by the time you are enforcing celibacy as a moral standard, there is this useful example that whether you like it or not, even when we were growing up, there are some things we did that is not known to our parents. But if they have given us the opportunity, the free will, we may just come at a point in time and just say it that, oh, you just like what did I just hear? Then it gives you an opportunity to address that issue. Thank you so much for that explicit explanation. So what advice would you give to young women struggling to maintain abstinence after an early sexual experience?
I think number one is to don't dwell on a bad experience forever. Okay. Don't keep yourself forever in a victim box. Forgive yourself. Even if you have had this bad experience, always forgive yourself. Okay. Give yourself grace. Be very compassionate with yourself and be willing to try again. Okay. That is how it should be. This is one. Another one, it should be to surround yourself with people who are going to support you, supportive people who are going to help you realize your potential in life. Okay. Because it's also, most of them will also struggle, like if there is no support, even if they have big aspirations and forgive themselves and all that, it's going to be really hard. Another one is to try and, while forgiving yourself, also try to educate yourself on what a healthy relationship feels like, looks like. Okay. It's like reprogramming your mind. Like, I have had this experience. How can I change, unlearn, and like ease myself out of this experience that I've had? I tell people that the brain is like the brain is like a computer system, and you can reprogram your brain into what you really want for yourself. It's like switching your algorithm, consuming the content of what you want your life to look like. Okay, aligning yourself with things that you want to happen for yourself in future. Okay, it could be like reaching out to people you really admire for mentorship. Yeah. Discussing with maybe communities that align with your values or with what you want for yourself, and also focusing on your self-growth. Don't dwell on your past. Okay, nothing grows there. Don't keep looking back and say, how I wish this didn't happen. Oh, this has happened, it has ruined my... No. Every brand new day is a day of making fresh new decisions to restructure yourself. So yeah,
I like that. Every brand new day is a day of making fresh new decisions and restructuring yourself. If there's one thing you should take away from this, Yes, forget about the past. It does not define you.
It
It is
doesn't.
your decision, the elder decision you make in the present moment has a long-term effect on your future aspirations. The time is now, no more procrastination, and seek support. If you need um other professional help, I've got some people I've got mentor, I've got coach, I've got all of that. Just reach out to me in our direct message. We will see how we can help you navigate through to make informed decisions on your life. Don't give up on life. Don't say you are tired of your life, you are tired of your shape, you are not looking beautiful. Like
Yeah,
our guest has said, she's been to China, she's been to Nigeria, she's been to UK, and the definition of beauty is
it's
not,
different everywhere.
yeah, it's very relative, it's different. So accept yourself as you are and bring out the best in you. Do not give up on yourself. Thank you, Francis. It's been an enlightening, educative. I hope you're not sweating.
Yeah, thank you.
This channel, The Tide, is dedicated to empowering others to become resilient in the face of life's challenges and offering valuable insights on how to live a purposeful and meaningful life. Before then, I think when you wanted to end the last question, you said, know the meaning of a healthy relationship, and you have just given me another topic to talk about, maybe to come here and tell people what a healthy relationship looks like.
I do appreciate this channel. I like that. It's a safe space to have these open conversations, especially for young ones. And I also like it's a very empowering conversation. It's fostering empowerment, resilience, and it's also very, very key. It's very necessary for personal growth, for informed decision making. And I am saying that if you are a viewer, keep tuned, keep watching this channel. There will be so much insightful conversations and discussions that will take place. And yeah, keep your eyes
Yeah,
on
keep
the time.
watching the tide.
Keep
Thank you
tuned.
so
Yeah,
much.
keep
Thank
watching
you
the
so
time.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any other thing you want to tell our audience out there? A final word?
I just want to say that romanticize your life, love your life, embrace your life, participate in your life. Yeah?
Hmm.
Don't be a viewer in your own life's journey, be a
Hmm.
participant. Okay? And that is also the core of taking agency, taking control of your life. Okay?
Hmm.
Don't just let things happen to you. Okay?
Hmm.
Be the writer of your own journey,
Hmm.
the dictator of your own paths, cheerleader of your personal development. Okay, don't wait for anyone to do this for you. Okay, be your own biggest, highest cheerleader,
Hmm.
regardless of what has happened.
Hmm.
Always and forever be ready to try again and again and again. Never, ever give up. Never.
Ever
Okay?
give up. Thank
That's all I
you.
have to say.
Thank you so much. Don't forget, continue to be the CEO of your life.
Good. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you so much, our audience, for watching. Thank you, Francis, for coming. Do join us again next month on our next edition of The Ties as we bring to you again another interesting topic. Keep watching The Ties, and thanks for your time.
Thank you so much.
Bye.